Emerging into the upper world, an Acoma story. Now we are going to make the mountains, Siktinako said, and show them how to throw a certain stone from the basket toward the north while speaking certain words. There a large mountain arose. They did the same in the other directions, and the mountains appeared all around them. Now that you have the mountains, the Spirit said, you must clothe them with growing things. From the trees they had planted underground, the sister took seeds which they scattered in all the directions. These will be tall trees, Siktinako said, and large enough to form the logs you will use to build houses. There were many seeds left in their baskets. The women planted the food-yielding trees, piñon, cedar, oak, and walnut, with a prayer, grow on this mountain and yield fruit for food. Your places are in the mountains. You will grow and be useful. They planted other seeds such as pumpkin, squash, and beans that Siktinako said would be important to them. As these crops ripened, she showed them which parts to eat. The sisters too were growing, and they needed more food. They began to bring the larger animals to life. First rabbits, jackrabbits, antelope, and water deer. Then deer, elk, mountain sheep, and buffalo. They told the buffalo to live in the plains, the elk and deer in the mountains, and the sheep on the very high mountain slopes. They ate their meat and enjoyed the new tastes, and always they prayed to their father before they began a meal. The sisters made mountain lions, wolves, wildcats, and bears. Strong beasts that hunted the same game that humans used. They made birds, eagles and hawks, which hunted small game, and little birds whose bright colors beautify the country. They made the wild turkey and told it not to fly. They told the smaller birds to eat various seeds on the mountains and plains. Siktinako pointed out that there were still fish, snakes, and turtles to be created, and the sisters gave life to all these and tried them for food. They found that some were good to eat and others were not, but whenever they ate, they prayed first to their father. So it happened that many animals came alive in the world. Iatik was always ready to use her seeds and images, but now Tsiti was selfish about the things in her basket. Now Tsiti had many left, and she said she wanted a chance to give life to more of her images. I am the elder, Iatik replied. You are younger than I. Is that true now, Tsiti said. I thought we were created at the same time. Let's put it to the test. Tomorrow let's see for which of us the sun rises first. Iatik agreed to the test, but she was afraid that her sister would get the better of her in some way. She went to a white bird she knew called Goeka, the magpie, and asked it to fly quickly into the east and use its wings to shade the sun from Tsiti. The magpie flew fast and far, for Iatik had told it not to stop. But it began to feel hungry, and when it passed over a lion's kill, it could not resist landing. The carcass, a deer, had a hole in its side. The bird put its head into the gash to eat the intestines, and then it flew on without noticing that its white feathers were soiled and bloody. The magpie did reach the east before the sun had risen. It spread its wings on the sun's left side, creating shade over Tsiti. In this way, it happened that the sun struck Iatik first, and Tsiti was very angry. Iatik whispered to the magpie that it must never tell. Then she saw its filthy plumage and said, because you stopped and ate, from this day on you will eat carrion, and your feathers will be spotted instead of white. Both sisters now were having selfish thoughts. Now Tsiti was full of plans to outwit Iatik, but Iatik watched her and anticipated everything. Now Tsiti saw that Iatik was not happy. Iatik noticed that now Tsiti wandered off alone. Tsitinako told them that their father forbade them to think about having children. She promised that other humans would be born to them at the appropriate time. But now Tsiti met a snake who said, "Why are you sad? If you bore a child in your likeness, you wouldn't have to be lonely just because you and your sister don't get along." "What can I do?" now Tsiti asked. "Go to the rainbow. He will show you." Soon afterwards, now Tsiti was sitting alone on a rock when it rained. It was so hot that the rain cracked on the ground, and she lay on her back to receive the drops. As the water dripped into her, the rainbow did his work, and she conceived without knowing it. Iatik noticed that her sister was growing very fat, and after a time now Tsiti bore 2 children, both boys. Very angry, Tsitinako came to them. "Why have you disobeyed your father?" she said. "For your sin, he is taking me away. You are alone now." Tsitinako left them, but instead of feeling sorry, the 2 sisters found that they were happier. It turned out that now Tsiti disliked one of her children, so Iatik took him and brought him up. The 2 women still did not get along, but they were so busy with the children that it hardly mattered. When the children were almost grown, now Tsiti said to her sister, "We aren't really happy together. Let's divide what remains in our baskets and separate. I still have many things, but they require a lot of work." Now Tsiti pulled out sheep and cows, seeds for wheat and vegetables, and many metals. But Iatik refused them, saying they would be too difficult to take care of. Now Tsiti looked again in her basket and found something written. She offered it, but Iatik did not want the gift of writing either. "You should have taken some of the things I offered," now Tsiti said. "In a long time we will meet again, and then you will desire my possessions. We'll still be sisters, but I'll have the better of you again." Taking the boy she had brought up, now Tsiti disappeared into the east. Iatik said to the other boy, "We will continue to live here with everything our father has given us." The years passed, and Tiamuni, as she called him, grew up to become her husband. Iatik bore him a girl who was entered into the clan of her sister, the Sun clan. After the 4th day of the baby's girl, Iatik put some pollen and sacred cornmeal into its hands and took it to pray to the sun. And with the many children that Iatik bore afterwards, she followed the same ritual that she herself had been taught when she came up into the light. Iatik's children lived together and began to increase. Their mother ruled over them, for she had her own power now that Tsitinako was gone. But Iatik wished to create some other rulers, so she made the spirits of the seasons by taking earth from her baskets and giving it life. First she made the spirit of winter, which she told, "You will live in the North Mountain and give life to everything in the winter time." Next, she created the spirit of spring and sent them to the West Mountains. The spirit of summer she sent to the South Mountain, and the spirit of autumn to the East Mountain. These 4 spirits were ugly, not at all like the children she had borne. She taught each one what to do. Winter was to bring snow. Spring would warm up the world. Summer would heat the world. And autumn would dislike the smell of plants and fruits and work to destroy them. And Iatik taught her children how to pray to these spirits for moisture, warmth, ripening, and frost. Taking dirt from her basket, Iatik next gave life to the gods. The first one she created she named Sitsenut. "You are very handsome," she said. "But but I will give you a mask that makes you different from all humans. She fashioned it from buffalo skin, colored it with different kinds of earth, and decorated it with feathers. Around Sitsanut's neck, she hung a wildcat skin, and she painted his body. She gave him a skirt, hung a wildcat skin, and moccasins, put cords on each wrist, and painted buffalo skins on his arms. On his calves, she bound spruce branches. You see that I have created many other gods, she told him. I appoint you their ruler. You will initiate the others. She gave him weeds of the soapwood plant for the initiation and then spoke to them all. From now on, wear the costumes I have made for you. You are rain god, created to call the rain when you dance before my people. They will worship you for all time. And after she had instructed each of the gods and given each his costume and a prayer, she told them that they would have a sacred chamber in each of the 4 mountains. And so everything was as it should be. Based on a legend reported by C. Darrell Ford in 1930 and on various oral accounts,